lot of stuff has come out ever since we posted that last video.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kadir?
Well, I mean, let's recap what's happened. So so since we posted the last video, there's been a groundswell more than usual about changing the team name again, which is something that I know I've talked about almost every single time that we mentioned the whole Redskins thing, which is like step number one, at least trying to do anything in the right direction would be to change the team name. And this week you had actual companies start putting places, start taking a stand on it. So I think it was, to start off, it was FedEx, Nike, and Pepsi. They sent a letter to Dan Snyder basically saying, hey, we think it's about time that you guys change the name. Then on top of that, you had one of the higher-ups in FedEx, Fred Smith, who is also a part owner of the Washington Redskins, sent a personal letter to Dan Snyder saying, hey, it's about time we change his team name. Mm-hmm. Then right after that, we had Nike pull every Washington Redskins merchandise off their website. And Nike actually makes the uniforms as far as the NFL goes right now. So that's a big moment. I know I've talked in the past about my brother being a season ticket holder for years. I was actually over at his house when my phone went off and it showed the Nike pulled everything out, and he lost his shit. He was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Now, he still has a couple things before he watches NFL again. His second piece is that Colin Kaepernick needs to be on the team before he watches again. But I understand, at least with the name change, it's a step. It's the biggest step in the right direction that Dan Snyder's ever done. That's not to say that Dan Snyder hasn't been a problematic person. It does not absolve him from all of his sins. But it's a huge step in the right direction. And it really no better time than right now to make the change. So then there's word that came out of the last couple of days. They've been talking to Ron Rivera about it. Now the stories are coming out that they've been talking about this behind league circles for the last 2.5 weeks. Ron Rivera has actually been involved in the last week. They have names that they're going through. Then you look at like the Adam Schefters and everybody else that's saying there's a chance on record-breaking time we could have a brand new team name by next week, or at least before training camp starts at the end of July, which is insane.
Yeah.
This is huge.
I want to add something though.
Yeah.
I feel like Snyder dropped the ball, right?
Which time? All the time.
I know, but I'm saying with the team name this time, he had a chance to get ahead of it.
Of course.
Instead of having like FedEx and Nike and Pepsi come out and say, hey, we're changing all this shit until you do this.
Remember last week when I said he had a list of the things he was going to try and do to assuage the fans. Mm-hmm. And the last thing on that list, he had to check every box. The last thing he was going to do was change the name. And then FedEx and Nike hit him in his pockets.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, fuck, I'm just skipping to the end. I'm going to check this box right now before I, like, basically he would have had anarchy. I mean, you can't lose his 3 main sponsors. Like jersey sales
and the name of the damn stadium.
Yeah, like.
Well, I mean, the name of the stadium, they already paid the money for it. It's not like they're going to pull out. The contract's good until 2025.
I mean, I'm sure there's something in there with racial problematic shit. I mean,
doubt it because all these years has gone by. You have a change of heart,
but
like
nobody
that. I doubt that will work.
Nobody was blaming FedEx though.
Yeah,
they just played at FedEx.
Yeah, they were. We were all people in DC, as far as fans of the team. We've been blaming everybody in the sense that if you keep the same reason that FedEx Field is half empty most weeks is that finally you had fans that started to get hype and to get to become knowledgeable in the sense that we're not going to support this team with our dollars and cents. They might get the TV revenue, but we're not paying for the parking passes. We're not going to the stadium to do this, that, and the other. And we've wanted things to change. Now, I'd say, in all honesty, most of us as fans have not wanted it to change as far as the team name has not been the top priority for us.
Right.
As much as we want to win. We just want a winning team. So I think that's been our thing as far as, like, we don't want these people supporting it. But then it's even hard-pressed when you start stepping away from the team as a fan, that you start thinking about the team name a bit more. I don't think majority of Redskins fans are racist. I really do think the majority of us, the same way that I thought years ago, that the Redskins name wasn't racist. I did believe that. I bought the story as far as the where the name came from. the Coach Dietz, all that stuff from way back when, that they had a Native American actually design the logo, that they did all of these things. I started believing the Washington Post polls that said 90% of Native Americans didn't believe that it was offensive. But then you try to omit some of the fine print. What they did on that poll was only, I think it was either 200 or 500 Native Americans across the country that they polled for that. You start thinking like, all right, maybe this is a little, Then when you start seeing Dan Snyder's bringing like the chief of a certain tribe and sitting him up in the press box and he's got a Redskin hat on, then you start feeling a certain way. But the more that you start digging down, I think that people looking at Dan Snyder and what the product is on the field as far as how fucked up he's been, as far as the product, gets you to start being more hypercritical of the owner. And then you add on top of that how crazy he was, all caps and over my dead body, basically, we're going to change the team name. You start saying, okay, am I on the right side of this thing if I'm aligned with this guy?
Yeah.
Then on top of that, you just how do I say this? Look, I've said time and time again that I believe that historically, as a Redskins fan, I feel like I'm on the wrong side of history. I'd be lying to you if I said that the team name is my top priority when it comes to the organization. It's mainly the losing. But I think right now, the same that we talked about last week, there has never been a better time for Dan Snyder to at least try to attempt to do the right thing. And what I am saying as far as that list that Ryan was talking about, as far as the last thing on the list, if you listen to some of the reports coming out of here, he's going kicking and screaming. It's not easy. Apparently, he's only talking to a select few in his inner circle, ones that agree with him. He doesn't want to do it.
I think we've all been in agreement that all Dan Snyder's cared about since day one is money. He gets the high-profile guy for $100 million because he thinks it's going to get him $200 million in sales. He does not give a fuck about anything else. He doesn't care really about the team, I don't think. He doesn't care about getting the right people in the right places for the team. He just cares about making a profit. I mean, that's why the fucking hot dogs are $18 goddamn dollars.
I mean, I've tried to give Dan credit though.
Yeah, but this is ultimate proof that that's the case. Is the only time he thought about it. He probably knew that FedEx was going to send this letter 2.5 weeks ago, and that's why he can say, "Oh, we've been talking about it for 2.5 weeks." He knew that shit was coming down the line, and he knew he was going to lose significant amounts of money. I don't know if he thought that Nike was just going to pull all of his products, which probably was the catalyst for everybody starting to be like, "Oh yeah, we've been doing this for 2.5 weeks. Me and Ron in the back, we've been talking about it."
Right.
No, that's bullshit. He saw the fact that if Nike doesn't put those jerseys up, we're not going to sell any jerseys. People aren't going to come to the stadium anyway, and we're going to lose some more people who are like, "Well, if you're not going to change the name now, I'm not watching you on TV either." There's no fans that he's going to lose by changing the name right now.
I disagree with that.
And the fans he does lose, he's going to make that up in spades from the people who are like, "Okay, I see a change. I see a little bit of trying. Let's give the Redskins another try."
I don't think it's that. I think it's more along the lines of like, if you ask me year in and year out how I feel about the organization, right? I've never felt more happy as far as having Ron Rivera as a head coach. I haven't felt this happy about a head coach change since Joe Gibbs came back. When you have Ron Rivera come in there, you're saying, "Oh, right, maybe it's the dawn of a new era," right? But once again, even talking about more what Dan Snyder does, especially in this climate, just as a sidebar, the amount of money he even donates to Donald Trump, which is something that people have been talking about a lot recently. Like, he needs something to hold on to, whether it is that there are a bunch of racist assholes out there, even some people that aren't necessarily racist, but they're still in the mindset that I was in years ago, which is that the team's not racist, this, that, and the other. There might be a sect of people that walk off, but trust me, if he does a fire sale on all Redskins gear right now, that shit's going to sell out. Then if there's a new name to add on top of that, he's going to make up all that revenue when it comes to new equipment and new everything, because everybody's going to want to go get the new shit.
Dude, that Red Tails jersey would be sick.
Well, that actually brings up something.
Yeah,
well, that brings up something. I wanted to go through some of the names with you guys after we kind of go to see what's what. But to me, it's like that would be so that's where I go to, is where it's never been a money thing for him, because you'd make more money with a rebrand. You would honestly make more money with a rebrand.
Yeah, because I can't wear my, RG3 jersey anymore.
That's what I'm saying. If you got the racist people that want to hold on to the name, they're going to go buy up all the Redskins stuff. They're still going to want to wear that shit. Let them do it.
Is it the same type of process as if, you know how like a player wants to change like their name or something or their number, that they would have to buy the rest of the jerseys that are in production? and then they can switch? Is that the same thing for the skins?
I doubt it. Because, I mean, other teams have done this, right? It's not like it's new. New Orleans has changed the name of the NBA. Charlotte changed the name of the NBA. Nobody had to buy up all the additional products. You just buy it as a throwback.
The Oilers changed names.
I don't know how they'll do with the Redskins gear, but there's enough already out in existence. If they just said, we're stopping production, you can buy what you want to as far as throwbacks. I mean, I doubt we'll ever see the Native American logo again on stuff, but you can't tell me that I'm still not going to want to buy or rock my 1975 yellow throwback, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm still going to rock my throwback Redskins gear. It's just that if we can change it to something new, then, yeah, I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy some new shit anyway. Even though, in all honesty, even with the name change, I'm still hard-pressed to support Dan Snyder. This makes it easier, but this still doesn't change overall what I feel as far as the Redskins.
A name change and some winning.
That to me is huge.
That's a great combination for Dan Snyder.
But even what we talked about last week, you got the Jack Del Rio bullshit, and he's still tweeting up a goddamn storm. Especially yesterday.
I honestly forgot about Jack Del Rio until right now.
I'm just waiting for his dumbass to say something about the team.
That's how genius his name change is.
Well, you even got Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins has even chimed in.
Yeah, he says he likes the Red Tails, and I don't blame him.
So that would be the thing, is that, like, the new team name, right? So there's a bunch of names that came down. There was at one point, there's the team name that I think everybody kind of expects it to be, and it's because he had the trademark at one point. I think the trademark expired, though. But Washington Warriors is most likely, I think everybody believes that that's what the team name is going to be. I don't mind that team name at all. I don't think it's really original. I'm not a huge fan of it. It's not my favorite at all, but I don't mind it, and it's better than Redskins. Yeah. Plus the alliteration, the WW.
I like the Red Tails.
I love that. Red Tails would be the next. That would probably be my favorite.
HTTR. It doesn't change it.
Right. As far as the Red Tails thing, not to mention if you're looking at historically, like what I've talked about as far as the racism that exists as far as the organization, you do something like, for people that don't know, the Red Tails were the fighter squadron. I think they were Army Air back then. The Tuskegee Airmen. That was the name. They were the Red Tails. So
it's the Air Force.
I don't think the Air Force existed back then. I might be wrong.
I mean, it was the Air Force section.
Okay, from where it was. So it's like the Red Tails would be a huge thing. Now, I understand people saying, well, the Red Tails don't really have anything to do with Washington, D.C. It doesn't really fit any of the motifs.
I mean, they flew the Tuskegee Airmen's planes over D.C. last night for their fucking flyover stuff.
Well, that's the thing that's kind of easy about DC is that, I mean, we got the Pentagon here, we have the government here, so it's basically anything along those lines kind of work. There's the one that I've talked about recently, which is Red Spears, which I didn't mind because we can still use the logos we've already had in the past, so you can still kind of hold on to the legacy.
Yeah, you take the Indian off, leave the spear.
Leave the spear. Now, there are some people that say that we need to leave all of that behind, that we need to get far away from any, and I can understand where they're coming from there on it, that like we have to completely leave that Redskin past behind us. So Red Spears might be holding on too much to it. But then there's all the other things, like people are saying, well, why would we tie something more along like what the Nationals and the Capitals do? Maybe you bring the Senators back. Maybe you go all the way back. This kind of ties in with the Red Spear comment, which is some people are saying, let's go back to the Braves, because the Redskins were the Braves way back when, or maybe call them the Brave Hearts or something. But to me, it still kind of fits into that.
Yeah, I think Atlanta Braves. Atlanta Braves are in hot water. Cleveland Indians are in hot water. It's just...
Cleveland Indians have the easiest decision in all of sports to make, because before they were the Indians, they were the Spiders, and that fucking logo is sick as shit. And they got black and white as far as their colors, and that should be just what they do.
The Richmond Spiders logo is sick too. So.
That's what I'm saying. Like Cleveland should just change to the fucking Spiders, and they should have been done that.
Plus, I'm pretty sure all of Cleveland is just a bunch of spiders. So, fucking
don't know what that.
Really hate Cleveland.
I hate Cleveland so much. God damn it!
All the little chicks with the crimson lips and Cleveland.
Let's transition from